Dan Hansis here with the rest of the Around the NFL podcast. Gentlemen, today marks the unofficial start of the second week of free agency, and a lot of the big names are now off the shelf. But there are some prominent names left, so let's talk about two, and we will start with Adrian Peterson. Chris Wesseling, the greatest running back of his generation, and we haven't really heard him attached to anybody in a serious manner. What's going on here?
Well, he's a guy who has to run out of the I formation, not the shotgun, and most teams now, I believe the number is around 70% of snaps that most offenses run out of the shotgun. He's not going to play on passing downs. He has a limited skill set, and he's used to being the guy, the workhorse. There's just not many teams where that fits.
Okay, so where can he end up? Now, that's the problem he's facing. At least that's the way we see it. Greg, we'll start with you there. Where do you see him ending?
I think he ends up back in Minnesota because of what Wes said. The NFL's moved on. Like, the NFL has changed since Adrian Peterson's career started. He does not really help on passing downs, as you mentioned. Think of the names that he's thrown out there and his father has thrown out there. 9 teams has been associated with Adrian Peterson. How many teams have shown interest in him? 1 team, Seattle, who already signed Eddie Lacy. So it's not really a two-way street right now. He's been surprised.
Do you want to go into the season having to find out Week 1 if Adrian Peterson is the guy that we have seen in the past? I don't know about that. And we bring up the Patriots as a landing spot. That doesn't make a lot of sense for me personally.
Why?
Because I think you just gone out and paid Rex Burkhead a ton of money, more money than anyone since Fred Taylor. You got a lot of other guys out there. LeGarrette Blount you could bring back. It's a great draft. Why center your backfield around a 32-year-old?
I'd love to see him in Tampa, but I think what needs to happen first is he needs to accept that he's a role player. And he needs to accept less money. There's a reason why teams aren't signing him is because he's valuing himself way more than any of those teams are.
The Patriots do make sense to me. We think of them as a shotgun spread team because that's what they were 2 or 3 years ago. Last year they were in the shotgun only 53% of the time, way less than a normal team. He could fill that LeGarrette Blount role, and the Patriots have had success with late-phase career power backs, Corey Dillon being one of them.
And what also makes sense to me with the Patriots is this idea. One of my least favorite sports trends started in the NBA where now all the top guys like to go to the same team together. The Patriots now, and we talked about this earlier in the week on NFL Network, they're so loaded. Adrian Peterson might look at the Patriots and say, hey, I want to get a ring. I want to have some fun. I'll give up some carries and some money. Let's get on the victory train.
I get the whole shotgun thing, but how about pull a late career reverse Brett Favre and go to the Packers? Even if it doesn't work out perfectly, stick it to them twice a season. Stick it to the Vikings.
He'd love to. There's no indication any of these teams want him.
That's the issue.
That's a problem. I feel like that's a problem in this whole discussion. All right, let's throw out another name that nobody wants. Jay Cutler.
Don't say
I'm not trying to be mean about it, but Jay Cutler has gotten paid a lot of money. We were actually doing a little research. We do that sometimes before we did this hit. And Jay Cutler somehow got elected to 1 Pro Bowl in like 11 seasons, even though he made roughly $3 billion in salary during that time. Wes, where does Jay Cutler land?
I know everyone's talking about the Jets, but I would make a case for the Houston Texans. And you guys know I've been about as big of a non-supporter of Jay Cutler as you can possibly get, but people have short memories. It was just last year at this time, everybody was celebrating Adam Gase for turning Jay Cutler's career around. A couple years before that, when he had Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Marshall, Matt Forte, Martellus Bennett, everybody was calling Jay Cutler a top 10 quarterback. He's still the same guy. If you're the Houston Texans, do you really want to bank everything on an injury-prone Tony Romo? Maybe go for Jay Cutler.
For the upside, I think they do. But the Jets, you've talked about the Jets yourself.
Well, I like as a Jets fan that knows it's going to be a bad season, and you almost you want to scam for Sam Darnell right now. Bring Jay in, have a nightmare season, but it's kind of entertaining, and the tabloids have fun, and we're all flying together. But I know that makes no sense because Jay Cutler in that quarterback room in a losing culture is destined for failure. But it would be kind of fun.
It would be fun, but they've given that front office the green light to go rebuild that team. This is a front office that's invested a 2nd and 4th round pick on quarterbacks. You got to find out if these guys can play before you make another decision there.
They think those guys can't play, and that's why they're going to be in the market. But
maybe they shouldn't be the front office of the Jets then.
Things are pretty. That's true. Things are pretty dire when Dan's saying, "Well, it'd be a fun disaster," and Chris Wesseling's defending him. I don't know about Jay Cutler and Bill O'Brien. That seems like a strange matchup. It's a system where you're kind of option routes. It's all from the neck up. Like I could just see those two going.
I would sign up for another season of Hard Knocks with the Texans just to see Jay Cutler and Bill O'Brien hate each other for 5 weeks.
How about this? Backup to Tyrod Taylor in Buffalo. Think he works in that system. Could see him getting some playing
It's time to be a number 2.
We've seen this week on
He's
Instagram.
now sent every quarterback in the NFL to Buffalo.
He loves Buffalo. Everyone should go to Buffalo.
I have a feeling he's going to start more than 10 games this year. Let's see where it happens.